ourselves up on this new branding, but the Universities of Wisconsin. I've been here for 10 years, so I keep wanting to use the word systems. But thank you for being here and being a judge, and I know that you've supported this activity for quite a long time and really done a great job of mentoring students, and we really appreciate that. So today we're looking forward to showing you the entrepreneurship and innovation that's happening right here in your district and throughout the state. Thank you to our host and event sponsor, the Idea Fund of La Crosse. Let's give them a round. Having a partner like you is not only to host us in this great location, but also to help and promote entrepreneurship in our region with seed funding and additional resources is what we need to make Wisconsin an economic leader. And also thank you to U.S. Bank for their sponsorship of the Quebec. I believe they're here somewhere. So just a few words about the tournament. It's not a traditional pitch competition. Our competition helps entrepreneurs validate their innovations and their business models while working on the skills they will need for their business to thrive during challenging economic times. Our participants are learning how to showcase their business models to a large audience, fine-tune their business pitch, and engage with other successful entrepreneurs and business leaders. The needs of our region, state, and country are constantly evolving, and new innovations are needed daily. It's thrilling to play a role in helping to foster innovation at the university level that will create a greater impact throughout the state and hopefully the country. Again, I'd like to thank you for coming today and supporting these student innovators. And I'd like to invite our UW-La Crosse Provost, Dr. Kunkel, to the microphone for a few remarks and to introduce
Thank you, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here this afternoon. I have to warn you that I am a former college professor. That's what I was before I became an administrator. So I'm trained to speak in 50-minute increments. I know I've been given 5 minutes, so this is going to be quite a challenge. And I also know that you all didn't come here to hear me talk today. I do want to say the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse welcomes everyone here to our city. I would like to say that we ordered up this weather especially for you today. We don't have that much control over the local area, but again, it is a beautiful day, and we welcome you to this event that is adjacent to our campus. Through affiliation with the Universities of Wisconsin, WiSys partners with UW regional universities such as UWL to facilitate our important role as a learning and society's think tank. We also exemplify, and this event exemplifies, the Wisconsin idea, which was first described in 1904, which basically says that education should influence people's lives beyond the boundaries of the classroom. And the universities of Wisconsin should be leveraged to solve problems, influence citizens' lives, and create a better world for all. We provide the context at UWL, as other regional universities do, to mentor and support students where research and discovery occurs, to have these ideas emerge and to work with them to implement these ideas. We're simply in the job of making ideas become reality. Out of this process, students learn and become central contributors to innovation, workforce development, and become important parts of the economic engine in our region and state. This process will be on display today as student groups present competitive pitches of their ideas. Now, just a little bit of background in terms of how higher ed administrators look at what we're about to witness today. These are what is known as high impact practices, or HIPs. That basically describes the idea of taking classroom knowledge and applying it to create experiential, hands-on learning, which is vital to what we do as universities as we prepare students both for meaningful careers, insightful lives, and global citizenship in 21st century society. It is also my pleasure to introduce Senator Brad Pfaff. Senator Pfaff represents District 32 in western Wisconsin in the state Senate and sits on various committees, including the Committee on Economic Development and Technical Colleges. In my nearly 5 years at UWL, living in the La Crosse area, I've had the opportunity to learn a lot about Senator Pfaff. He clearly is a proud and tireless supporter and friend of higher education, the universities of Wisconsin, and in my world, UW-La Crosse. I want to publicly thank him for his work and advocacy. He clearly gets it, and what I mean by it is the importance of higher education to workforce development, societal intervention, economic growth, as well as the contributions that higher ed provides to individuals to live more full lives and their important contributions to a quality democratic community. It is my pleasure to introduce our senator and friend, Senator Brad Fatt.
Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brad Path, and it is an honor to be here before you. I represent this beautiful area in the Wisconsin State Senate. This is the driftless region, with the beautiful rolling hills, coulees, and valleys, rivers, lakes, and streams. It's what makes this area so beautiful. It's my home, but it's a home for 185,000 people or so that I represent in the State Senate. But I am excited that you are here because of all the ideas that you bring forward. I had an opportunity to meet some of you presenters before, and I am excited about the possibilities that all of us have before us. We learned a little bit about whey protein and some of the work that's going to be taking place when it comes to adding it to some food additives. I think it's so neat. Apps, working on an application for our phones, our computers, from a presenter. That's quite exciting. So many creative ideas. Fishing. The idea of going fishing and making sure that we have a cover for the fishing reel. You're going to learn about that this afternoon. The thing is this. None of us know where the next great idea is going to come from. But we all know this. We need to foster in the state of Wisconsin the idea of creativity. We need to provide people with opportunity. We need to give people the space and the freedom so they can think, they can explore, they can tinker. We need to continue to build an environment and an economy that's built upon the idea of collaboration and working together, but also recognizing the importance of independence and creating this whole culture of innovation that we want to be able to explore, that we're not afraid of technology, but we recognize the fact that the technology that we incorporate needs to figure out how we can create an economy that provides opportunities and doesn't have an us versus them mentality. All of that is so very important. But we need to recognize the fact that growth and economic growth is important to all of us. If we're going to continue to provide opportunity for people in this state, may it be rural or urban, we have to grow our economy. That is important to do. And the best way to grow our economy is to make sure that we provide people with the freedom to be able to create ideas from the bottom up. I appreciate the fact that I get the opportunity to serve on the Wisconsin Economic Development Board with Missy Hughes as our leader. I appreciate that opportunity. I also serve, as was mentioned, on the Technical College and Economic Development Committee in the Wisconsin State Senate. But the thing is this, I want to hear from you. I want to learn from you. I want to make sure that we create an environment, a business environment, and a culture in this state that allows you to grow. We need to make sure that we recognize the fact that we have to continue to invest in an education system, a public education system, from pre-K to 12, to technical college, as well as the 4-year and the graduate level. All of that is so important. We need to make sure that we continue to reach out to students from all walks of life, regardless of what their zip code and where they may be from. They have an opportunity. They have an opportunity. All of that is what we need to do. We need to build a supply chain that is more resilient, that is not just dependent upon another part of this country or another part of the world, that we can have a supply chain locally here as well. We know how to make things in Wisconsin. Wisconsin's an agriculture state, we're a manufacturing state, we're an engineering state, but we're also a technology state. We need to continue to create ideas, engineer, manufacture, produce, process, distribute, all here in this state. I want to work with you on that as we go forward. And we got to make sure that we continue to keep this region of the state, but the entire state, a welcoming state, where people from all different walks of life, from all different stations around this nation and around this world, feel that they can have an opportunity to succeed. That's what we need to be able to do. But today, this is about you. This is about your dreams, your ideas, what you've been able to come up with. And I too want to thank John Horn and the Idea Fund for hosting this. I appreciate venture capitalists. I really appreciate angel investors that are there from the beginning, at the ground level, and willing to work with you, willing to continue to invest and believe in your ideas, because that's important. I appreciate their risk-taking as far as investors being able to do that, but I appreciate your ideas, the fact that you're willing to come up with an idea and present it and believe that it can overall make a difference in this world. Welcome to La Crosse. Thank you for the work that you do. I am so appreciative of the fact that Arjun and the leadership of WiSys wanted to come to La Crosse and help showcase this new, the innovators and all the entrepreneurs. Let's continue to work together. My last request to you is this: stay positive. Continue to be a positive influence moving forward. Don't let cynicism get to you. Stay creative, stay innovative, never get in a rut. Continue to reach for the stars. And I appreciate the opportunity that I have been given to be here this afternoon. Let's go get them. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kraft. Alrighty, now we're going to get into the part that we're all excited about and start hearing some student presentations. And we're going to start off with Caden Tutenhoef with Astronomy. Caden.
Alright, so my name is Caden Tutenhoef. I'm here with my co-founder and business partner of Arstana LLC, Tyler Wazer. Tyler, just give a wave to everyone real quick. Thank you. Alright, so just by a show of hands, how many of you guys have consumed or know somebody who has consumed protein powder? Alright, I see a lot of hands. That's what I like. So it is widely acknowledged in the fitness industry that a person's protein intake is one of the most essential components for their personal health and reaching their goals. However, as with many aspects of our diet, the modern human lifestyle has made it difficult to meet a lot of these dietary needs. Luckily, supplementation exists in order to fill those gaps within our diet. So, Tyler and I are both heavily involved in personal fitness, and when figuring out an idea for our business, we knew that we wanted to venture into the supplement market, which is actually very large, with our total addressable market being 119 million people, and our serviceable addressable market being 8.5 million people. So when we were thinking of ideas, we originally wanted to go with traditional protein powder. However, aside from that market being heavily saturated already, we both were largely dissatisfied with the options available to us. So back in high school, when we'd come up with this idea, we went out and conducted short surveys among our peers and quickly found that many of them shared the same remarks as us. They didn't like it. You see, the issue with proteins available on the market today is that they are all thick, chunky, sweet concoctions that are difficult to clean and even harder to choke down after an intense workout. In order to solve this issue, Tyler and I came up with two solutions: a clear and a savory protein powder. The clear protein powder is designed as a more fruity, juice-like option that you can use to get rehydrated and get your protein in after an intense workout. The savory version is designed to be added is designed specifically as a meal additive for things like rice, pasta, crock pot meals, and is a great way to add significant flavor, nutrition, and most importantly, protein to your diet. So with these two new products, we plan to target customers aged 14 to 40 who are involved in personal fitness because of their higher likelihood to buy our products. We plan to use marketing strategies that align with our core values as well as high-level products in order to keep customers coming back again and again. So now that we had this product in mind, we knew that there were a few types of risks that we would have to account for. Do people want it? Can we sell it sustainably? And are we even capable of making these a reality? So in order to solve these issues, Tyler and I went out and we conducted over 250 surveys at 4 UW schools across the state of Wisconsin. From these surveys, we found that people surveyed generally shared the same opinions as us. 86% of our respondents regularly went to the gym. And we found that after an intense workout, their desire for a clear, fruity, and refreshing beverage went up 16% compared to before the workout. Additionally, 53% of them rated traditional protein powders to be not appealing, and 65% wanted to add additional protein and flavor to their meals. More importantly, however, when asked if they would be interested in our flagship, our most important, like savory product, a whopping 58% of them said yes, and 70% of them were interested in our clear protein. This validated that there was a desire for our product. It cost us nothing and took 1 week to complete. So now that we knew that people wanted our product, we had to figure out if we could even make it. In order to do this, I went out and I did research on protein in general. Using a combination of my findings, as well as a basis from other brands, I was able to create our first trial, our first products. After about 5 runs of tweaking, so on our 6th product, we finally had one that we were confident enough to go out and share with people. So we went out to our local gyms and we conducted and interviewed 20 people who tried both of our products. We found that the results of these surveys were overwhelmingly positive and the approval ratings actually matched very closely to our solution surveys, which validated the fact that the product that we were proposing in the solution was wanted by people in the world. This cost us $200, took about 1 month. Another issue that we ran into during our planning stage was getting third-party approval. You see, the FDA does not regulate the supplement market. However, brands that are not approved by a third party in some way lose out on an estimated 10% of sales due to customer mistrust. In order to solve this issue, we reached out to one of our key partners, NutriCap Nutrition. NutriCap is capable of helping us refine our formula, as well as everything from producing our label, packaging, and the protein powder itself, and sourcing all of our ingredients. More importantly, however, NutriCap is approved by a third party, which allows us to put an NSF approval label on our product, solving the issue and allowing us to access that larger customer base. Now that we had all of this done, we had to do some work to identify our channels and revenue streams. So initially, we planned to sell mostly through our online store while marketing traditionally and in collaboration with fitness influencers online. During this stage, we plan to produce our product for an estimated $23.33 per unit and sell direct to consumers for around $40. Those prices, by the way, have been validated in our solution survey. Once we have built reputability of our brand, we plan to sell wholesale to stores like GNC, Walmart. And with those prices as well, it leads to around a 40% profit ratio. Right now, we're in the middle stages of formulation. Right now, we're still working out larger tanks ourselves in order to save costs before moving to our next step. In the future, we plan to refine our formula and then, provided proper funding, fully launching our first products by the end of 2024. In our first year of sales, we estimate that we can sell 1,000 units and do approximately $40,000 in sales. Given our 40% profit ratio, that leaves us with $16,000 worth of profit that we can then reinvest back into our business. Thank you.
You can open it up for judges' questions.
I'm kind of curious on the sales price when you were talking about that 35 to 45, I think. Was that the end price to the consumer retail?
Yes. So that's the end price selling right now that we would sell to our website. So retail, there might be a little bit of a difference because we would have to look into wholesale option. So in order to lower costs, we have to produce higher number of units sell wholesale, so then the price to consumers might go up slightly in like in-store locations.
I was just curious if you thought about that.
Yeah.
More distribution channel.
Can you talk a little bit more about the barriers that you're addressing? Did you say FDA approval or?
Yes, so the barrier there is just customer mistrust that we have to deal with. Like I said, the FDA doesn't regulate the supplement market, but third-party companies actually approve manufacturers in different facilities. So ours is approved, and the main stamp that we get is the NSF stamp, which is the National Sanitation Foundation, which basically just says that all the things that they're using, all the machines that they're using are clean, the ingredients that we're using are pure and clean, and it just basically gives customer reinforcement that we're a good brand to take.
And you get that through your co-manufacturer?
NutriCat, yeah, so that's just provided to us.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm curious, how did you ask, maybe one simple question that you asked after you did your first formulation, and the basis behind my question is, what do you think would have someone switch to what you're looking to produce versus what they're already doing?
Yeah, so the reason someone would switch to our products is because we're kind of solving the issues that already exist on the market. So, like Tyler and I, and many of our peers share the same remarks that we don't like traditional protein powders. Like I was saying, they're all thick, chunky, sweet flavors like chocolate, vanilla, etc. And so the options that we offer, the clear, kind of solves that issue, making it taste kind of like Gatorade, which is a great, refreshing drink to have. And a lot of our surveys show that people desire that. And then the savory product we actually came up with because Tyler and I did a lot of meal prep, and we were looking to add more calories to our meals. So this was just kind of a way, without having much mass, to add more flavor, protein to meet our macronutrient needs, and all of that stuff. And then with the calorie thing that comes up, that actually brings up another good point of our fitness. Initially, we were targeting around 160 calories per serving, and now we target around 90 to 100 calories per serving because we found in our surveys that people actually didn't want a super high calorie option.
Great job. So you've on the business model, you're selling online to start direct to consumer. You got to drive traffic to the website. What's your thoughts on the go-to-market strategy? And have you looked into customer acquisition costs?
Yeah, so initially, we've done some research in the past specifically on creating ads, how much it's going to cost us to run those ads, and different strategies that way. So we have looked into the price a little bit, although we're not exactly sure, because depending on even things like the quality of the ingredients that we're producing can affect our costs. Another thing that we looked into, like I was saying, was using viral fitness influencers on apps such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and we'll actually just send them our product for free in order to have them do a little review of it in their video, which should then drive customers to our website looking for our product because they think, oh, that's a good idea, I want to try that.
So it sounds like you've really uncovered a need in the market and you're on your way to solving it, which is great. How are you going to make sure that you don't have a whole lot of copycat companies coming out with clear, fruity protein powders or your savory powder as well? Are you protecting things along the way, or do you want to get more brand recognition and jump in that way?
Yeah, so while we were actually formulating our clear protein, another competitor did emerge in the market. It was kind of like we had the same idea at the same time, and they happened to get it out sooner than us. However, the savory doesn't exist in the market at all right now. Nobody else is doing that. So we've looked into a couple different options. One of the things that we're doing right now is we're in communications with the University of Wisconsin-Madison, law clinic type of thing, and they help us in producing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, in order to give to our manufacturer and anybody who we are going to tell about our product. And then additionally, we're not going to launch our product or tell anybody about it until we are sure that we have enough resources to launch a full-scale, great advertising campaign. Because a lot of the times, consumers, when they see the first person make something, that's going to be the product that they keep coming back to. And I talked about that also in some of our slides when I was talking about our marketing strategies and how high-level product we want to have. Yeah.
Thank you, David. you know what?
Caleb, you want to
We have 1 minute with the descriptions.
Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Locker. I'm the founder of a brand called Easy Wear Jewelry. We're a company that's on a mission to empower the lives of individuals with limited mobility to help increase their daily independence, as well as their confidence through the use of our Easy Clasp. So this is a picture of my dad and I. I'm the oldest of 4 girls, and when each of us were born, he had gifted us all a matching necklace that was silver chained with a diamond pendant on it. One morning, in a rush to get out the door, I put on this necklace, and I didn't realize until I got home later in the day that sometime throughout the day, my necklace wasn't clasped on properly, and I had lost the diamonds. So through all of those emotions that I felt, I thought there had to be something out there that makes putting on necklaces and just jewelry in general easier. I wasn't finding what I was searching for, and so I came up with the Easy Clasp. This is a revolutionary jewelry attachment that you can put onto any existing necklace or bracelet that you own. And I have a conceptual prototype here, so you're simply able to just pull it on over your head, and you have that security and just the ease of mind that your necklace isn't going to fall off and you're not fumbling with the clasps. So our technology and the engineering behind it is based off of a badge ID rail. We've just scaled it down immensely and encapsulated it in some fine metals. So this is just a closer view of how the product would attach onto the piece of jewelry that you already own. We filed for a patent this past October, and we're currently working with an international firm to help us get coverage on a global scale, which we're very excited about because we understand the importance of having the intellectual property and protecting our design since there is nothing like it out on the market. We don't want anyone to try and come after us and steal this design that we know has something good behind it. Our key partners and resources. So first at the top, we have jewelry retailers, designers, and manufacturers. Right now, we're currently working with someone out of New York City to help finalize our first functional prototype. And then senior care centers and operational therapists. So since we're really wanting to target the limited mobility market, people with dexterity and arthritis, we thought that by tapping into these 2 places, we would be able to help reach that audience on a wider base. And then, like I mentioned, people with limited mobility, the importance of intellectual property, and then having that investment and operating capital to get us going. Our value proposition here, there's an uncatered demographic. There was an event that I went to at the Entrepreneurship Center at my school campus, and I had met a girl there who suffered from very severe dexterity, and I showed her my prototype, and from her enthusiastic reaction, it opened up my mind to a whole market of people that were being catered to, because this would allow her to do something that she was never able to do before. It'll help aid in daily independence, it's user-friendly, it's a trailblazer in the jewelry industry, and then partnerships would be a really huge thing to help us scale. Onto our customer segments, so we're targeting that women in the 40-plus age range. There's over 83 million in America alone, and over half of them have some form of limited mobility. Also, women ages 45 to 54 have to spend the most money on jewelry, which is good for us. This market right now is valued just over $330 billion. And then onto our revenue stream. So we'll be taking both a B2B and a B2C route with this. We're going show how our product works. And then on sales and distribution, marketing costs, and then our cost of goods sold for sending the product out. Any potential use of funds will go directly towards our first order of inventory. We will have 4 different options. We'll have some finer metal options, and then a DI silver, which is still very durable, anti-tarnish. It's just at a much lower cost point per gram compared to the finer metals. And this is the team that's making it happen. So besides myself, I have Katrina, who's our jewelry designer and the manufacturer. And then we have David, who's our patent attorney, and we have an angel investor, and he prefers to remain anonymous in what we're saying. So now I ask who's ready to join our team and help revolutionize the jewelry industry. Thank you.
I like the pivot around who the target market might be. Have you done some exploration around similar solutions, maybe not the same kind of product, similar solutions?
Yeah, so there is something out there that's a magnetic class, and that was really the only thing that I came across that was anything similar to what I was working on, but I found with it that with necklaces that have heavier pendants on it, the magnets sometimes aren't the strongest and they can come off. Also, if you're using it with a bracelet and you're walking and it gets caught on something, it'll rip right off. So our solution is just more secure in that way.
Have you had a chance to take your design and sort of demonstrate it with individuals in your target market?
Yeah, so through the Entrepreneurship Center on campus, there have been people that I came into contact there, but there's also an organization out of the Milwaukee area called Mobility First, and I've gone to a couple of their events just to get a better connection with that market, and I received nothing but great feedback from it. Yeah.
You talked about like going from tiers of jewelry stores and where you're going to stop. So have you started those discussions with some of those jewelry stores? What's
Yeah.
the reaction there? And
So Katrina actually, she's from the Brookfield area here, and her family has a store in the North Fond du Lac area. So we already have intentions of having our product in her store, but based off of other people that I've talked to, they're like, when it's ready, bring it basically.
You had a pricing chart on your 4
Yeah,
different models. Was that the retail price or the cost of goods sold?
retail price.
Like, what is the concept like?
Yeah, so for the class alone, we're estimating that it'll be anywhere from $13 to $15, and then we've factored in like $7 for packaging and shipping costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you, Taylor. Next up, we're going to have Teresa Kasser with Moxie Moxtail. Moxie Moxtail. W.
people said maybe, but there were no no's, which gave me a lot more confidence in figuring out that people would want this. And then my perfect idea, a lot of people all were really excited about it. And then I also figured what price would they want. Most mocktails that I've seen on the market have been like towards $30, which is really expensive, which is for the consumption of, oh, mocktails are just expensive juice. Okay. So I have to meet the $15 mark. So some of my business model candidates, I've got my value proposition, which I mentioned earlier, ranking suppliers and partners are my suppliers, distributors, my cost structure is looking at wholesaling and the online option. Revenue streams, profit from selling mocktails, investing practices, and then donations and funding from outside sources, because I am going to be donating money. I need a lot of money to start this in the first place. And then my current phase, I formed a limited library corporation earlier this year. I set up a business account on Wednesday. It's got a whole $10 in it. And I'm trying to get a lot of fundraising because I don't have a lot to put towards this because I am a college student and this is very new, so I need a lot of money to get started. And product design and development and also research. And then my next steps is proof of concept, bringing free samples to people, having the minimal file concept, and reaching out to distributors, and continuously learning. So, continuously learning, please help me learn and grow, and by filling out the survey that I can distribute for. Thank you very much.
What do you feel about the competition?
I think there's a lot of competition mainly for non-alcoholic beverages. There isn't a whole lot of mocktails per se, and a lot of the mocktails are really expensive. And people don't like it, but with my own natural ingredient idea, I wouldn't have a lot of the sugars that people really don't like. And a lot of preservatives I hate. So it's niche and it's new. I would be competing against like sodas and waters and other ideas from choosing alcohol.
And then have you gone as far, and you might have mentioned it, like what pricing that you on some ingredients?
A couple of my mini semesters ago, I did a cost structure. My knowledge for a lot of entrepreneurship stuff was very basic. I came up with $2 per can, but I'm really not sure about that. But what I do know is I cannot go above $5 to the consumer, otherwise they're going to think, oh, it's just expensive juice, and I have a lot of feedback on we can't have it so expensive, otherwise I'm not going to buy it.
Tracy, thank you. You caught my attention with your problem statement, including that your solution has donations to alcohol rehab and awareness around alcoholism. Can you say a little bit more about that? Because that really caught my attention.
So I grew up in a household, so I lived in a couple different states, and in this state I noticed is very situated around drinking. I recently found out that Eau Claire is I think the second or first heavy drinking #1 in the nation in the States. Wisconsin is the heavy drinking state in the United States. And I never did a lot of the college parties. I never understood why people, like my peers and whatnot, drink so much. And then I met a lot of people who were like me who didn't have any interest in the alcohol. So they always turned to other alternatives, but the alternatives that they had weren't great. So there's that, but then when I was going through this process, I found out that people, especially in the generation, turned away from alcohol because of their experiences and things like that. And I noticed that there's not a lot of awareness in general, and there's not a lot of helping people. I want to help more people. That is one of the things that I wanted to do. I was going to be CNA, but then I decided maybe it was better.
block.
Thank you for that introduction. Like you said, my name is Jess Hackford, and I'll be talking about my product called Block. Block's team consists of myself. I am a student at Green Bay, but I also have 5 years of experience in project management. My brother will be working as my lead software engineer and has over 17 years of software development. The problem I wanted to solve with Block is the issue with time management. I work full-time remotely. I am a full-time online student and I have a 5-year-old. And so balancing all these aspects of my life and prioritizing my tasks is the hardest thing I do every day. And the way that I cope with that is by using a paper time block calendar. But if you ever used one, you know that by midday they're just obsolete because you get several new tasks on your plate and things take a different amount of time than you expected. So the solution that I came up with is an automated time blocking app called Block. It works as your personal assistant by prioritizing your tasks, scheduling them in your calendar for you so that you save that time for things you actually care about. When I was going through the business model and mapping out my assumptions, the first assumption I made was that people would find Block desirable so that they would be as productive in their day as possible. But as I ran interviews with people of varying experiences, industries, ages, I found that what people really care about is that they have enough time in their day for things that they love. How Block works, my other assumption was that it would take about 6 months to develop Block to have all the bells and whistles that I wanted. But when I met with software developers, we came to the conclusion that my best bet was to make a minimal viable product, figure out what that is, get it rolling into a beta testing period so that we can hear from our consumers what they like, what they dislike, and what they want to see in the future and focus on that. But the minimal viable product will work by first syncing with your Gmail and Outlook calendars to house all of your appointments in one location. Then you'll add your task to Block. You're going to name it, prioritize it on a scale of 1 through 5, give an estimated time of how long you think it will take to complete, and then a deadline if there is one. Block will get to work. It's going to time block that calendar based on those times, priorities, deadlines. And then my favorite feature is the pause resume button, and this is what's going to make Block stand out from its competitors. When you need to take a break, take a call, have an unexpected meeting, you'll hit pause. Block will clear out that calendar besides the appointments that can't move. When you're ready to get back to work, you'll hit resume. It will reconfigure your calendar again. So when you get back to work, you don't have 100 overdue tasks. Instead, it will just tell you what you need to focus on. My next assumption was that young business professionals would want to buy Block. And after doing research and interviews, I found that to be true. However, specifically work-from-home employees should be our target market. According to Upwork.com, by 2025, 22% of the American workforce will be remote. That represents 36.2 million workers. 82% of people do not have a time management system yet, so there's a huge market for Block to penetrate. Lastly, my assumption was that people would be willing to pay $10 a month for Block. Block's main competition is Motion at $30 a month and FlowSavvy at $7 a month. Block will stand out from these competitors with its aggressive social media marketing and its competitive pricing and the pause resume button. And so we figured that $10 a month is very reasonable and in fact we can go higher. We will market for social media. We have a very healthy budget for social media with a prediction that for 2.5 million app views, we'll get around 1,000 new subscribers a month. After that 2 months of development, we will roll out the 6 months of beta testing. And then by year 3, with gradual price increases and gradual user increases, we expect 64,000 users at $12.99 a month. The first year, we do expect a negative net profit, but our break-even point is at month 7 of year 2. And by the end of year 3, we expect a net profit of $6.4 million just for that year alone. Right now, we need to meet with legal and a financial advisor, and then we need to start working and finding our investors so we can bring on the rest of our Block team and get to work at developing marketing. In the future, we would like to expand to teams packages, enterprise packages, and even universities. Those will bring 3 different target markets for us as well, but right now we will focus on that individual work-from-home user. Thank you so much for listening to my pitch about Block. I truly believe that Block is going to change the work-from-home world for the better. And now I'm going to try to points of clarification. Thank you.
works, but also through our social media marketing. We have a budget to start at $20,000 a month. So even Motion and Flow Savvy, I am their target market, and I had never heard of them until I did research. And so with Block, that's going to be our main driving forces that we're going to be marketing heavily. Thank you. Any other questions?
Why did you feel that the work from home target segment is the most important segment? Wasn't everybody need to mention
That's a really good question, and it certainly can be used for anyone, but specifically for marketing, that work from home, because anyone that's transitioned from office work to remote realizes how much you have to depend on yourself to stay focused during your day, and so that's why we figured the work from home, especially after interviewing people, that's the niche that we should go after.
I was just wondering, as you go into actually developing this, are you going to bring in any sort of, I don't even know what the correct terms are, but like machine learning type things where it will adapt to how you like to work and how your day goes and such?
I'm really glad you asked that question. In the future, and that was one of the bells and whistles I wanted from the beginning, is for AI to be incorporated so that Block starts learning from your tasks how long they're actually taking you, because if you're like me, I never guess the right amount of time. It always takes way more time than I expected or less, and so Block will learn that for you and be able to fill out that calendar better than you can.
Why $10?
That was just my initial assumption, was the $10, because for me, when I'm looking for project management or a time management program, $10 feels really comfortable to me. But then after doing interviews and researching the competitors' pricing, I realized over like $12.99 is going to be more of a comfortable range for people to make that leap into getting Block.
If you look at the work from home market, have you looked, what other types of integrations do you look at beyond email?
That's a really good question. So far, I haven't really dove into other integrations right now. It's just the emails for those calendars. But really, the next steps too then would be expanding to teams, enterprise, and universities. Universities is what I'm most excited for, where I envision when a professor is filling out their syllabus with estimated times for assignments, for how many hours a week you should be studying. When a student uses their school Block account and they enroll into that class, it would automatically send that information to their account and time block for their students and help them manage time.
Have you looked at any comps in this space? If I'm thinking about like a productivity tool that an employee would use, that the employee would also be willing to pay for. That would be interesting to look at. I don't know if John's in here, but if John wanted, like, if I was going to get something to be work from home to improve productivity, I'm not paying for it. I'm going to be running it through my company.
Sure. No, that's really, really good feedback. I envision for like teams and enterprise, obviously be the company paying for it, but for the work from home, for me, I am a work from home employee, and personally, I'd be willing to pay for it if it helps me manage my day and all my other personal tasks as well. So that's where it becomes worth it for me and to pay for it myself, because it's not just work. Any other questions?
Alrighty, now that we've gone through our first 4 presentations, we're going to give you an opportunity to take a quick break, to grab water or anything you might need, and then we'll get started again in about 10 minutes. This is partially light. Yeah, this is not the end all be all. All that's. It's more of a guide. This is only on my. Oh, yeah. Good shape.
Innovation, new ideas, right? Nice to meet you, Anne. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm at SBDC as a career. Sometimes I just see the initials though. I just put it on to make sure they know that everything
Yeah, are you going to be there? I'm helping organize.
So yeah, what's your role?
Basically helping people in the southwest Driftwood area where it's on east start progressing to there.
Okay, so you probably work a little bit with more.
I know Norwalk. Yeah, I'm working.
Well, we kind of always look at it as
I've heard more people in undergraduate. One thing about the region, I've been starting small. The last 3 years I've been on my countries on that. So, there's nothing more than what they do. You see a lot more of like small businesses. So, when they say they're entrepreneurs, I'm used to being in a lot of places in the world where they don't talk about the afterwork and like some and here they're like, I want to drill that want to start, or something like that. So it's really different like that. And those things are really great. It's all the way I think the work that's going to see is a lot. Because I think the stuff they need to know is 100%. That's where I work with Nora a lot. I never want to just have somebody like, oh man, that's not me. So good luck,
well, that's why I don't really want to our success.
Yeah, I think the RL stuff is really no, like really like 5 or 6 companies. Like Grant, Monroe, Grant, Green.
Do you, so is John he's our revolving door fund.
Okay, I don't know.
So we have 7 companies for our SBC, and then more covers that whole. It's like everything. It's like some of our upper companies. And that's what it calls. So it doesn't, I don't know. But John is the revolving door fund.
heard some people back there. I think that the really important thing that I've developed, and I've talked more about this a lot, is connections and sending somebody in the right place can be really valuable. But what I've learned is don't just suggest it. I think of that as kind of like, here's on one side you can say like suggesting somebody fly from point A to point B, or you could help them purchase a ticket and drive them to the airport. Make sure they get there. So I'm a really big believer in that. Don't just tell somebody, oh yeah, you should check out such and such. There's like a really high percentage of chance it will not happen. It's right there. That's the kind of stuff that you well, yeah, just even here, we had a guy last year and stopped in front of the cat. And stop right there and help the guy. So Wilson and just got down. Oh, yeah, I've already talked about that. So that's what I'm going to see. You need to make sure that you're the next round and now we're ready.
All right, everyone, start getting settled in. We'll get started again. All right, Nigel's already up here and ready to go, so I think we'll get started.
Ever tried making a perfect tikka masala only to end up with a bland, disappointing mess? Namaste. My name is Naimil Jariwala and I'm an international student from India here at University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. And today I'm excited to share Arya's, a ready-to-eat Indian food company, and how we are and this product will bring authenticity from India to kitchens across America. I was making tikka masala once and it ended up with a mess. And I feel so many international students from India also go through the same. And I'm sure so many of you have also heard of the OG Indian dish, the tikka masala. I love it, but cooking it was a disaster. It was hard to find the right ingredients. It took forever. And between work and school, I just didn't have enough time. And I knew I couldn't be alone. So I assumed that other international students from India might go through the same problems. And I went out to solve the problem. I initially assumed that what if I created tikka masala which could be created in less than 10 minutes, which is authentic and yummy at the same time. I went out and interviewed 89 international students from India and found that all of them loved the product and wanted to buy now, considering the common pains they shared as me. But I was at that moment worried that Indians only make up 4.4 million of total US population, and was the market I was targeting big enough? This took us 2 weeks to validate and determine. Then comes the breakthrough. My friend Sam, an American, tasted my tikka masala prototype, and he was amazed of how quickly it was prepared, yet how good and flavorful it tasted. A light bulb lit. Should I pivot the target audience to all Americans? This would also solve the problem of the size of the market that would have faced. We market research. Remember sushi and ramen were once exotic? Look at the trend now. After discovering that, we went out and assumed that whether Americans would go for a product or not. And we assumed that what if we adjusted our tikka masala to American taste preferences while keeping authentic, pivoting from our original idea of targeting only Indians? I started to create value in a new customer segment that is Americans. With that, we know we face two riskiest risks. Market risk, will someone buy our product? Second, food safety management, FDA regulations. We tackled market risk first as it was easier and more important. I initially surveyed 110 Americans from all backgrounds and found that they gave us 8.3 on an average, considering the product was good, and 92% said that they would buy the product. But we knew this was really early validation, but at least pointed us in the right direction. We really validated this idea when we took our product to UWL's Visionary Venture competition, where people who attended, mostly white and Asian Americans, really liked the product and wanted to try the MVP I had. The judges also validated our product by giving us second place overall and first in our category. The great thing is that all this validation came from virtually building nothing at this point, and we did validate that there is an opportunity here and market and American customers that we can serve. This cost us $130 and 4 weeks to determine. I learned a valuable lesson. Your initially assumed target population is not your only consumer always. Then our next question was, where should we sell it? We initially thought that we will sell it through our website, but after talking with our potential customers, we realized that the best way to sell would be in the retail locations and on e-commerce platforms like Amazon. Then our next question was, where should we produce it? This went right with our food safety management, and two factors we needed to consider were FDA regulation, that is food safety risk, and authenticity of the product. And I wondered what would be the best place to produce Indian food than India. This would also solve the problem of high costs which would have encountered if the production, manufacturing, packaging were in the US. Then comes the FDA regulation. In order to have FDA regulation, we need to file $350 per year in order to get FDA regulation and sell our product in the US. This would also validate that we have FDA regulations and meet the US food standards. Going forward, we have to validate two things, revenue stream and how to build customer relationships. Currently, we are finalizing deals for retail and operations, and we are actively seeking for companies which provide import and export services. I'm excited to say that we are launching our first product in the month of October with tikka masala, butter chicken, and madras lentil masala. Going forward, we are also thinking of launching ready-to-drink mango lassi and chai tea latte. As an Indian, we believe in sharing food, and sharing the food is in my way. And that's what my company, Arya's Ready-to-Eat Indian Food Company, is all about. Get ready, America, we are bringing the spice to your life. Thank you.
What you decide? Are you going to, or?
Yeah, so manufacturing, production, and everything would be considered in India because of the high costs that we would have encountered. Yeah.
So you have someone else producing it?
So my mom would be the one who would conduct the experimentation of everything in India, and she has experience of food business since 15 years in India, so that would help us a lot.
And those packages that were on the slides, where did you, so you made this?
Yeah, this is our 10th prototype, or I would say MVP by now, and this was all done in 1 year. And this is ready to drink.
And how do you prepare it?
So it is prepared in cloud kitchens, then it is went to the operation, the deal.
How do I prepare it?
How do you prepare it? Okay, I'll explain it to you. You take a pan, pour it in, water, eat it, you're done.
What's the pricing?
The pricing of the product, if the production in India, then it's going to be $4. That's the price that we're going to sell, and the profit that we would make is $2.68.
Okay, awesome. And so the initial thought is e-commerce.
Yeah.
So how do you drive sales? How do you find customers?
The the student organizations on the campus, because that would help us have so many customers. By doing just one email, they would help us market our products and everything. So that's our first strategy. Second is definitely going with social media. But our initial goal is to go with Amazon, because that would also solve us the delivery cost that we could encounter. Yeah.
You're going to make them in India, would you also sell there? Because there are people who are busy there as well, even if they can find all the ingredients.
We would definitely sell it, but I'm the one who's going to run everything here, and it would be nice for me, considering my strategic location, to be in the US to conduct everything here. And in order to sell the product, the market in India is not that much receptive as it is in the US, and that's what we have encountered through our research as well. And like I showed you the trends, sushi and ramen is really growing in the US right now, and I feel that this could be the next, let's say, boba tea or matcha or sushi. So, yeah.
Have you looked at some of the competition? Because there is some ready to eat.
Yes, definitely. Oh, there you go. The major competition is Tasty Bite. They have 30% of the market, but they do target only Indians right now. Even though they have 30% of the market, and the rest 55 is still in scattered, which gives us a large opportunity to cater so many customers at the same time.
The last thing I'll say is that, so I work for the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and we help Wisconsin businesses with importing and exporting.
Okay.
So if we can help you understand the regulations and how to do it. We don't actually do it, but we can assist with that.
Awesome. I'll take your email to finalize the deal. Yeah.
Well, I was actually, it reminds me, I think we have another company here in Wisconsin, that Steve might know better, and they produce spice packets.
Yeah.
And so this reminded me of that. I guess I was wondering, have you, I don't know anything about Tasty Bite, but I wonder if there's a different competitive landscape that you have to look at. And I guess wondering if you've done any outreach to especially grocery stores,
Yeah.
to see what would be the process to build some customer awareness through those channels.
Awesome. So last summer I was at UCLA, and in LA in general, in order to do market research and to know where do I stand in this whole world. And I found out that Whole Foods and some of the other local retail locations that I just mentioned would help us have the product go, and also it would be nicer to have our products going in the local farms and farms fairs that happen in the city in order to get the product out of the door.
I'll just make a comment
Yeah.
because you would know better than me, and that is I've learned a lot through my retail entrepreneurs about getting things on the shelf. So we have at the university a group called the Food Finance Institute.
Okay.
And they may be a resource to help you think about those costs in working with those types of distributors.
Actually, the same advice was given to me by my mentor, Anna Lavaca, as well.
There you go.
So I'll take your email as well to finalize that too.
Awesome.
Another question?
I think we're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty, up next we have Michelle Stangler from UW River Falls with Positivity in Action.
Information, from newspaper to radio to social media, now podcasts. But what information is there for young people in agriculture? What the problem is, agriculture and its related industries provides 10.4% of the total U.S. employment. But the problem is that these young professionals enter the workforce with little to no curated media just for them. Here are two interviews that I've recently done with Positivity in Ag. One was a recent study abroad student at UW River Falls who's now whose dairy farming in the Netherlands, a heavily regulated sector, to the 2024 farming or be involved in agriculture is important to ensure our food, fuel, and fiber systems continue to thrive. Hi, I'm Michelle Stangler, the creator and host of Positivity in Ag, a network of information that's striving to inspire more young people in agriculture to be involved and to learn about this industry. What started as a podcast in January of 2023 was a 4-minute daily podcast that's free to listen to. Now it's pivoting to create sponsorship opportunities, bringing in that revenue source. Looking through this business model canvas, there are two audiences that I'm striving to connect with. First, the listener. As we look here at the listener is part of Generation Z in the 18 to 27-year-old range who have an interest in agriculture. Look at the sponsor and the companies and agricultural businesses. Currently, there's an all-time listener rate of over 1,500 listens, with 65% in my target audience of 18 to 27-year-olds. Look at the sponsorship, and there are over 330,000 firms, and of that, there are 1,900 with over 500 employees. These are from 31 categories I chose from statistics of U.S. businesses in 2021. Looking into the channels, Positivity in Ag is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, along some social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, alongside creating an e-newsletter. Hypothesis that I initially had was that podcasts are growing demand, so why not create a podcast? What I find out through a survey posted on LinkedIn and agricultural youth channels is that 84%, an overwhelming percent, had shared that they receive their ag news via social media. Other top answers did include ag farm podcasts and other journalistic mediums. Other options include marketing and businesses. So I pivoted and will be creating it more into social media first, offering teases on social media, and then going to those platforms, offering it on YouTube and TikTok, Instagram, as it's very easily shareable throughout those platforms. So what's different? What's unique? Well, for the listener, it's digestible. You can do it while you brush your teeth. It's easy to listen to, and it's a daily affirmation, giving a little more positivity in our lives today. It's also award-winning. Recently winning the first place podcast category earlier this year at the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Student Seminar. For sponsorship, it brings awareness to a niche audience, young adults in agriculture. Alongside, it's also multi-platform and brings in a lot of metrics for that marketer. So some assumptions I had was that there's little to none specific media for young information, for young farmers and agriculturalists in this space, and that they wanted to hear from experts. But what I found out is that 60% consumed ag, local, or state news on a daily basis, 5 out of the 7 days. And is that enough? Is that enough to ensure our agricultural workforce continues to thrive in this food, fuel, and fiber system? So other top answers, the local news, ag, national news. So I'm pivoting to ensure that more young adults in agriculture want to hear these top answers. What I found most interesting is that they want to hear from young ag leaders. I'll be making sure to add these topics to the podcast. Likewise, when looking at the customer relationships, is that the customer, the listener doesn't want to be sold to. They want to be invited to the conversation. And that's where this network would strive to do, in making it timely as well, and then for the sponsor having it be co-created. Looking at revenue sources is that there are tiers. These are some ways of what it can look like and bringing value for both the listener and sponsor, providing exclusive sponsorship, and making it multi-platform. Right currently, I have a lot of sponsors who are interested in developing those relationships. To produce these episodes, we need to make sure that they're being edited. It takes a lot of time to edit this content, to build those relationships, and to post it. To do this using podcasting equipment, microphones, time, and people. To do this, we need to tell the story of agriculture. We need to get that information. So working with those marketing professionals, PR, and media relations, and also hearing from the market influencers of young people, seeing where they're at on social media, getting them on the podcast as well. These are some ways of campaigns that marketers can use and utilize the podcast to really reach their target audience for internships, and then also using it for event organizations, as it's easy to put in their newsletter to drive that traffic the day of the conference. Likewise, it's not my cost to start up. So what's next is I got in last night at 10 p.m. from studying abroad for a semester in Europe, interviewing people in agriculture, met farmers like him in Ireland, Ultimately, I'm wanting to connect more young people in agriculture to resources and opportunities, and like I end every episode, have a good day. Questions?
Yeah, great job. Really, really interesting. So from the sponsorship side, you think agriculture-focused companies, you think the main value to them is in like a talent sourcing aspect?
Yeah, I think that's one medium. I think there's not many specific audiences where they can put out their information. So young talent to also Generation Z is, if you can find this slide, we're in the store and just as we buy products, it's an easy way to learn in that age range because compared to my age to a 60-year-old who has been using the same John Deere tractor, he's not going to want to change. But here, as a 23-year-old, I would have an option to change and being marketed to that. So also those new products that's coming out from those companies. So I think this fact that accounts for 21% of U.S. consumers similar to agriculture.
So are you seeing your listeners and then also your universe of potential sponsors? Is this more a Wisconsin-based thing, a U.S.-based thing, an international thing? And how do you, if it's a larger audience, how do you make sure you're getting to all of them?
Yeah, that's a really great question that I've really thought about, like where could be the reach? Right now, I think the potential is a U.S.-based audience because through the survey that was U.S. people in agriculture, and since we're English speaking, I think a lot of people in Europe may listen to it, but it's not going to be my target audience because John Deere, the brand, looks very different here in the United States than it looks in Europe. Seeds companies look very different here than in Europe. And so how I would make sure that I'm still creating that value for that young professional is that we all have problems and challenges of what are we going to do tomorrow after we graduate? What are we going to do with the products we want to create more revenue? I think for me, I grew up in a dairy farm and I think the mushroom business, like niche farming is so interesting and I'm involved in agriculture and like the practices are different, what they look like is different. So I think that's a way to get involved into more.
So I'm going to contradict myself. Just wait for it. I worked in dairy for 17 years before coming to this job. You're tapping into something that is such a challenge for agriculture, which is bringing in youth. So like that, and there's nobody doing it. So this is awesome. And I want you to think about like the energy that you have for this. Think beyond the podcast. Think beyond you can do a lot. And I can just see it. It's awesome. But I would also say be careful because what I've heard you say a couple times feels like you could have scope creep, where you were talking here about like Gen Z wants to know about the origin of their foods. Well, if you're talking to the young farmers, they know about the origin of their foods. So where are you trying to kind of target with your work? Is it advocacy? Is it, supporting ag and just thinking about that? So that's where I'm contradicting myself. I'm saying watch out for scope creep, but at the same time, the concept of youth in agriculture and tapping into that is a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. And I think it's a valid question because for me, do I know everything that I'm eating? Although I'm in agriculture, I would say no because I don't know how a lettuce is grown. And so I think there's that potential there. So mine is that the audience who is listening to the podcast has some sort of background that has agriculture in that scope because I know that there are people going to say that organic farming is so much better than conventional farming. But at the end of the day, we're farming, we need to produce the food for tomorrow. So I think I definitely know where you're coming from. It's something I need to continue to reflect upon in that sense.
Just as a follow-up to that, I think the concept is really interesting. What are you looking at as your key performance metrics? What about sort of the place in which you have listeners to the relationship of the sponsors that you want to go after? Do you have sort of a sense about what those metrics would look like?
Yeah, I think some KPIs that I would strive to ensure that's included in the media kit is the listener rate, is how many average listens per episode, and then all the other platforms, the numbers of
Russo, and my business idea is Rod Shell, soon to be the best fishing rod protection device on the market. Over the course of my presentation, I'm going to be going over my lead business model canvas and how I got there. So this all started for me last summer when I was fishing a professional fishing tournament with my dad. He hooked into a big fish, so I ran to the front of the boat, got the fish in the net, we were so excited, and then I looked down and I just stepped on this brand new $300 fish. This got me thinking that there's got to be a better way to protect the fishing rods while they're on the boat. After the tournament, I wanted to find out if the other anglers were facing similar problems. So I asked 38 tournament anglers, how often are you damaging your rods and what are you doing to protect them? And I found that on average, a rod is damaged every 4 outings, and an angler uses 7 to 11 rod stocks at a time. So I found out that yes, there was a problem, and yes, these anglers are willing to spend money to solve this problem. So I went home and I conducted some market research. I found that there are over 40 million fishing licenses sold annually in the U.S. Of that number, 30 million purchase fishing rods annually, and there are over 2 million tournament anglers in the U.S. Tournament anglers are my initial target market as they require, utilize, and prioritize fishing rod protection the most. And that brings me to my first design, the deck shield. The deck shield is a hard plastic lid that attaches to the deck of your boat, and it protects your rods from being stepped on. Over the next 3 weeks, I wanted to find out if I was truly solving a widespread problem. So I went and I asked 105 tournament anglers, how are your fishing rods damaged most? And I found out that I was only solving a quarter of the problem. It turns out anglers are also damaging their rods, transporting them, dropping them, and by shutting their vehicle and storage doors on them. So I set out to find a solution for all of these issues. And that brings me to my second design, an individual hard casing to protect your rods at all times. And this individual hard casing will open and close on a single side hinge. So here I really thought I had it, and I couldn't wait to go show the anglers what I came up with. So I asked 63 tournament anglers, would you purchase this product? And in response, I got a whopping 18%. Now these, of course, are my early adopters. These are the people that just love everything new with fishing. So the other 82% said no. And their reasoning was because, well, when I take the fishing rod out of the casing, where am I going to put the casing? There's no easy way of storing it. Which brings me to my third and final solution, Rod Shell. Rod Shell serves as a rigid, collapsible fishing rod protection device for fishermen seeking to safeguard and extend the lifetime of their investment in fishing rods. Rod Shell features a hard plastic material to protect against impact. It is telescoping and it collapses down to 4 inches, making for easy storage. It has a thin foam inner lining for buoyancy and added protection, and it has an elastic band at the bottom to secure it around the roof. Allow me to demonstrate how Rod Shell works using a prototype I developed on a much, much smaller scale. So you'll simply slide the Rod Shell down the rod like so, and use the elastic band to secure it around the roof. And now that brings me to my next problem, of making sure nobody else already had this idea. So I reached out to a patent attorney, and he assured me that my idea was indeed unique. So I'll be competing with 3 other products on the market. The first is the most popular, the mesh rod sock. The problem with the mesh rod sock is that it snags hooks, it flies away in the wind, and it doesn't protect against impact. Now the upgraded version of that is the neoprene fishing rod sleeve. This is made of a thicker, hook-resistant material, though it still does not protect against impact. And now, of course, there are hard fishing rod cases on the market, though they're made for airline travel. So they're much larger, heavier, and they encapsulate multiple rods at a time. So I went out and asked 58 tournament anglers, would you be interested in purchasing this product? And if so, how much would you spend on it? All but 6 said that they would purchase the product, and the majority said that they would spend $18 to $25 on it. And that led me to set a retail target price of $15 to $25, depending on the size and style of the rod. And my max production cost is going to be $5.58 in order to maintain my target margins. And so in year 1, my focus is going to be placed on product and field testing. I really want to perfect the product. In year 2, I'm expecting 6,600 customers at 2 rod shells apiece. And in year 3, I expect that trend to continue. So I plan on selling to my customer directly through my website at tournaments, through influencers, and eventually through retail stores as well. Here's a look at some of the influencers within my personal network who want to help me promote my brand. And they span from fishing guides all the way to established creators in the space. And now I'd like to introduce you to the teams. So I am the founder of Rod Shell, and along with me is my father, Tom Caruso. He's a very important part of this team as he comes with over 30 years of professional fishing experience and deep insights into the market. And now here's a look at my completed lean business model canvas. The one thing I'd like to point out here for you guys is that I love comparing Rod Shell to the OtterBox of fishing rods. It is a premium product that offers premium protection to an expensive yet fragile item. Now we talked about what I've done, now I'd like to talk about where I plan on going. So I'm currently working on building prototypes with a local plastic 3D modeling company, and in the near future, I plan on building out my e-commerce site on Shopify and attending trade shows and local tournaments. Join us on our mission to provide armor and insurance to anglers nationwide. Thank you.
Great job. So you had a stat in there, 558 was your development cost.
That's my maximum production cost in order to maintain my margins. So
how did you get to the 558?
Yeah, so that was just based off of taking my sales are at an average cost of $18 a unit, selling them, and figuring out what it would have to cost in order to achieve that 70% margin. And I actually met with a local plastic injection molding company. They weren't able to help me produce the product, but they did refer me to other companies that ensured that that was the safe price, 2 cents.
So how close are you to being able to sell? You have a prototype, you know how to manufacture it, you have some ideas about where you want to be, so are you got your sales schedule ready to go?
Yeah, so as we're speaking, I'm actually working with an engineer to develop a full-scale 3D model of the product. And then I plan on approaching manufacturers and working on getting that done. That's the most extensive part of this entire process, is getting that manufactured done. Because it takes a lot of custom molds to actually produce the different segments of this and get that done. Yes?
More comment, have you thought about 3D printing?
Yes, yes, I did think about 3D printing it. I'm just not sure if that's going to be the most efficient way of producing them at a mass scale. That's still something that I'm looking into. Yeah.
It's maybe the same thing, but I like that your target audience, is a lot of these tournaments, and that you can actually reach people easily at a tournament. And I'm guessing there's people sell things at the tournaments naturally. Have you also thought about, there are lots of fishing shows throughout the country throughout the year where it's not just tournaments, but hobbyists and things like that?
Yeah, so at the end there, I mentioned that I plan on attending trade shows and local tournaments. That's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah.
These tournament fishermen are also my initial target market, because I want to get those professional testimonials to then bring to that general population to really grow that population as well.
Dylan, great job. I guess the only thing I would say is your problem statement at the beginning said you would step on your dad's wheel.
Yes.
And the solution that you've developed is protecting the rod. So you don't have to say it like that's all good, but just think about as you're going out and talking to investors, tying your problem statement to then the solution.
Yeah, so what initially happened was I stepped on his rod, so I broke his rod, right? And then, so the initial problem I was trying to solve was fishermen stepping on their rods. But I learned later that that's only a fraction of the problem of how fishermen are breaking their rods. So then I pivoted to protecting the entire rod at all times rather than just putting that lid on top of the rod so that they don't get stepped on.
So maybe an extension into the future is protection for the reel.
Yes, yes. This is just this was the most efficient way of doing the drawing. Thank you guys.
Alrighty, I'm going to call our final presentation of today. We have Bree Michaela from UW STEM who will be talking about safe scaling.
And I'm Bree. And about 7 weeks ago, we came up with our idea, Safe Skin, which is a natural underlayer crafted with non-toxic materials. This past year, a jury in California ruled that a uniform manufacturer should pay over $1 million to American airline flight attendants who were severely sick from their uniforms. The uniforms connected to these cases were all made from synthetic materials and contained layers of chemical finishes and dyes. These same finishes are found within police and firefighter uniforms, medical scrubs, and even your favorite blazer. We understand that these finishes best serve a purpose for their industry. However, at SafeSkin, we want to protect those who protect us. When one flight attendant uniform was studied, it alone had over 42 different chemicals in it, including excessive lead and arsenal. In the U.S., there are next to no regulations regarding chemical content in clothing. This means that the uniforms our frontline professionals are wearing while protecting us could actually be harming them. We believe the closest layers to your skin should be helping you, not hurting you. Studies have shown that every time your skin comes in contact with chemicals of concern, these chemicals can be absorbed through your skin. Our solution lies within the development of a handcrafted underlayer made from natural materials and dyes taken from local food waste. Originally, we planned on dyeing our materials with natural pigments like turmeric and matcha, which we're wearing right now. But after some discussion with my coworkers at the local restaurant where I work, we identified a problem with the waste we create each day. So we decided to slightly pivot and take matters into our own hands and began collecting onion skins and coffee grounds to naturally and sustainably dye our materials. And then here are prototypes as well, onion skins, and then coffee grounds right over here. And then as you're observing our prototype, you might be wondering, why couldn't I just buy a basic cotton t-shirt? At SafeSkin, we strive to educate consumers on the chemicals that lie within their clothing. Newsflash, even some t-shirts labeled as 100% cotton have some of the same chemical finishes we discussed previously. With OPM-Tex 100 standards, consumers can assume the highest quality and transparency from our brand. Ultimately, our goal is to protect individuals from chemical finishes in their garments that may be necessary for their industry but are harmful to their bodies. So, in order to solve this problem, our primary customer segment is flight attendants. However, we do recognize the need for safe and comfortable basics in our everyday clothing. So that created our secondary segment. After conducting research with medical professionals, we made a slight pivot and we're going to make them an early adopter. While our initial and main focus is on protecting these flight attendants, we see an opportunity to make a meaningful impact by offering these shirts as a base layer beneath scrubs. This not only aligns with our mission of prioritizing safety and comfort, but it also provides us with a strategic avenue for generating revenue and advancing our larger purpose for these flight attendants. Our first step in doing this, in advancing our larger purpose for these flight attendants, by talking to these medical professionals early on, we are actually creating a full circle connection back to those professionals who supported the flight attendants from the very beginning of this case. Our main business structure, in the future, we hope to expand this process out into the community a little further by targeting individuals with substance abuse issues and even single mothers. We plan on doing this by employing and training these individuals and hopefully working with these single mothers throughout the workday while their children are at school. And then one pivot that we made is to actually have a transportation service for these children to go to school so the mothers don't actually have to worry about transportation for their students. The next step in this process would be utilizing a company website, which we plan on outsourcing. We would also upload all of the products to the website through our own team. And then we also plan on ensuring quality control, as we would be the last step in that purchasing process before any products go out to consumers. When we expand, we also hope to add an additional subscription-based model, as we recognize that these professionals are working long work hours and they don't really have time to wait around for a shirt. So all they have to do is sign up for the subscription and the shirt will get delivered right to their door. Finally, we would like to share with you our conservative forecast, which our pre-startup costs are going to be in the research and development of our fabric center dyes. These will be around $113,000, as we plan on starting with 1,000 sales units, and it's going to go through 5 regional medical and dental facilities
along with working with one of our local dental hygiene programs. We have $39,000 estimated for revenue in that first research year, and about $100,000 coming in through friends, family, and different crowdsourcing. Through this first year of research, that'll inform our year 2 sales, and then throughout the next few years, our research costs will go up between 5 and 10% while we work with more test customer segments. So here at SafeSkin, we strive to educate our consumers and give them resources that they need to protect their bodies. To do this, we need your mentorship. Help us protect those who protect us. Thank you.
Yes. How have you explored, is this a risk to explore the consistency for dyeing, right?
So like the color fastness, is that what you're referring to?
I am not in a professional way, but I just imagine that if you have, first off, I really like the idea of sort of using food waste for dyeing. And as a complete different aside, I'm reminded of a USDA Small Business Innovation Research awardee who used violets and as a new dyeing tool, and they got federal funding to help them work out the kinks in that process. So that's what this is. So that's what the basis of my question is.
Okay.
Is there challenges in consistency for doing the dye?
Yeah, so, I mean, challenges would be, you're collecting, like when we're collecting scraps, they come in different shapes and sizes. I guess we just have to formulate like a batch that would be correct for it. Right now, we are in the research phase, so we're just dyeing in our apartment kitchen. But I don't think any shirt would come out like the same dye material. That's just a risk you almost take with the natural dyes. But like,
we are also in like the research stage of what fabric we're using for sure.
Yeah.
So those 2 shirts are actually a different blend as the shirts we're wearing right now.
Yes.
So these shirts have like 95% cotton, and those are a cotton hemp blend. So depending on like the blend of material, the dye like adheres to that material a little differently.
Yeah.
So when we first started dyeing them all, we were like, let's see how this works. We were like, because there's actually, if you have 5% or less of like polyesters or synthetics and spandex in the materials, then it's counted as still a good material for your skin and it's protecting you. So we try to strive for that 5% or less. That's why we moved to an even smaller percentage of that in those shirts. There's 3%, there's 5% in these. But the higher percentage there is, the less likely it is to adhere to the material.
So just a suggestion, and that would be if you have research involved in this, and there may be an opportunity that there's some through the SBIR program, in that one example, that there could be a relationship here. So afterwards we can talk about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
I think you guys have a real strength in that what you're trying to do really is soup to nuts. You're trying to be true to your brand and true to what you're trying to accomplish. Protecting service providers and then thinking about food waste, and really interesting that you're already thinking about like, who can produce these for us and how can we do that in a really sustainable way. And I think that mission that I'm hearing you talk about is really reflective of your generation. That you have to be true all the way through. And so thinking about how that really strengthens your company as you go forward, I think is really important. You're telling a big story here. And as I'm thinking about it, I used to be on the board of the Environmental Working Group. And check out EWG because they are a group that's really concerned about chemicals passing through your shampoo, your, anything that you're eating. They're doing
definitely, we've only been doing this for about like 7 weeks. So,
Spending all your time dying.
yeah, coming up with the ideas, but we definitely have like gone into those ideas a little bit, but we're still kind of figuring out where the best opportunity is for it and where it could really take off. So we're doing, our first few years are actually in the research, so we're planning on starting with a medical professional just to get it in the door, build some revenue, and then to kind of see how that works while also doing other research with different like streams, which would be really important. And then that kind of like will drive our year 2 and see where we go.
All right, awesome. Thank you. That was our final presentation. From here, will be a chance for the judges to deliberate, but there's also an opportunity for you to vote on the People's Choice Award. So if you're interested in voting, please scan the QR code up here. It will remain on the screen for the next about 45 minutes while the judges deliberate. And then also while the judges are deliberating, we have an opportunity to network and for the student presenters to get some mentorship from our mentors that we have here today. Each of the mentors will be wearing a red name tag or ribbon underneath their name tag, so we encourage you to go out, mingle with them, and seek advice on your business plan and presentation. And then likewise, mentors, all of these student presenters will be wearing blue ribbons underneath their name tags, and just anyone that you think you have particular resources that you could support, we strongly encourage you to reach out to them. But otherwise, I want to give one last round of applause to all of our presenters. Alrighty, and now we'll go into network and mentoring, but we'll plan to be back here at about 3 o'clock to announce awards, which is very exciting. So, yeah, I guess where,
Thank you.
We can add meetings. So that's why the taste of it is originally only vegetarian. They're not targeting meat. We are become targeting meat as well. Yeah, that's true. That could be we usually eat it with sauce. We usually do not eat it with yeah, but in the US people prefer rice.
You're still hearing about it. I didn't say that.
Something that's it's very
all those things
you want some people to come interact.
Yeah.
space, so I guess there's like a bar.
It's nice to get a text. So it's like WhatsApp, and so it's so nice. I'm gonna get text. It's so
Email address for any other questions?
right now I'm well, so I actually, it's not an official business.
Nice
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. What's your name? And how did you get into your role? Oh, yeah, come on down. I love that.
Yeah, well, like, I used to, like, so I worked for 5 years.
Okay. Now, look at your marketing. But if you don't mind me asking, let's did you need seed advertising? Oh, sorry. 1 second. I've got it. Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Hi.
This is why.
Yeah.
We'd like some photos to send back to corporate. So those photos, and so all help make that happen, but we both know that. So much better at that than I am.
Better than me with an iPhone, I'm sure.
Yeah. Nice to meet you. I'm gonna go shell. So smaller? Yeah.
Again,
really good. Yeah, because, and that's really very, not what some house does well. It may not be what you want. Because otherwise, someone else will be able to take it. Just be glad.
All right, last minute announcement that if you have not voted for the People's Choice, to do that right now. Voting's going to close in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So.
state card, like access to state card.
Yeah, she does. Where's her walking around? But actually, she has Yeah.
Thanks so much. You guys here really so integrated.
Alrighty, before we get into the winners in our closing remarks, I wanted to call for Wyatt Jones from US Bank to say a few words.
Well, thank you all. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come and join all of you today. Never been invited to anything like this, and it was very refreshing, very inspiring to hear all of the wonderful plans that have been put together here. Just love the hard work and the energy that have been put into these things, and I applaud you all. You should be very proud of everything that you've put into what you've done here. And I think the judges would all agree that every single one of the plans that we heard here today were absolutely wonderful. So again, thank you all for having US Bank here. We're proud sponsors of the WiSys event, and look forward to continuing to work with all of you as you put these plans into action. Thank you for your time today.
Before you go, could you just say a few words about kind of what things do you look for, and what does US Bank look for when you're kind of evaluating companies?
Absolutely. So everything that I heard here today, as far as your starting point all the way to to direct to the consumer, keeping in mind the research and the marketing and putting a plan together that really spells out not just how you're going to get started, but where you see yourself going over the next 2 to 3 years. Anybody that you may work with in an organization like Small Business Administration, for example, would provide you with the same sort of advice. Be as comprehensive as you possibly can, but don't leave it at the first year. Really project 2 to 3 years out if you can. And when it comes to approaching a bank or a credit union, having an organization like the SBA, economic development, that sort of a thing, having them review your plan before you walk into a bank or a credit union. And if anything, if you can get something like SBA security or guarantee on a loan before you even walk in to talk to your banker or member service representative at a credit union, wherever it is you're going through, that's your best bet to get the financing that you actually need to get started. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to individuals who don't really have that backing or that plan put together before they walk in, and the best advice we could give them at that point is go talk to the Small Business Administration. Go talk to the local Chamber of Commerce first. Once you've gotten that advice, that direction, then come back to the branch. So long story short, keep doing exactly what you're doing right now. Have a plan, be prepared before you even walk in the door, so to speak. And of course, we're always here to provide that kind of direction as well. Banks aren't just places that you walk into to get a loan. US Bank also prides itself on being able to provide support and direction. So draw on us that way. Don't think that you can't come into the branch and simply ask the questions that you need to ask. And does anybody have any questions for me at all?
Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you, US Bank, for sponsoring this. Next, I want to bring up Garrett Lauderdale, one of our judges, to say a few words about the Idea Fund and what they do. And obviously, thank you to the Idea Fund for allowing us to be in their home.
Thank you, everyone, for coming to La Crosse. It means a lot. Appreciate you making the trip here. I'm probably standing between the big check presentation, so I'm going to draw this out for quite a while. Just to build the suspense, I think. And thank you to all the presenters. Everyone did such a great job, and I know you put a lot of time and energy and effort, not only into the business ideas that you're working on, but into the presentations themselves. So hats off to everybody. And thank you to WiSys for putting together this event. What a great event to bring us all together for. Yeah, Idea Fund. So we're happy to sponsor this event. We're a little bit about us. We're an early stage VC located upstairs, so didn't have to travel too far today. And we really focus on supporting entrepreneurs in the upper Midwest, mainly Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. And we're early on in our second fund. We just closed our fundraise, a $31 million fund. And now we're... I did absolutely none of that, so I will take that applause. That was all John, but yeah. So we're early on in Fund 2, and we're out and about and really supporting kind of pre-seed and seed stage companies in the Midwest. So I think that could be a potential path for all of our presenters today. And if anyone wants to learn more about venture capital and kind of how that works, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Few more things that I promise we'll get to the awards. I'm sure all of you are wondering what you can do after this and what resources are available to you, and there's two that I want to make you aware of. One is the Venture Home Network, the WiSys Venture Home Network. We continue to help entrepreneurs and startups grow and connect resources across the state. If you're interested in that, I'm one of the people that you'll get to talk to, so I encourage you to come and talk to me after this event, and I would be happy to assist you in connecting to various resources across the state. Along with the SBDC network of Wisconsin, I'm sure many of you work with your local SBDC while developing your businesses and these presentations for a fact because several of them put the qualifying events on. So I encourage you all to continue connecting with them and those resources, and please reach out to myself or Adira, probably direct them to me if you want to continue to support it. And then lastly, I want to encourage you all to register for our annual Spark Symposium, which is this year in Superior. It'll be it is a great event where research, innovation, entrepreneurship collide. It's an opportunity to talk about the student research projects you're working on, and also fantastic student startups like all of you here today. There's a QR code down here if you are interested in snapping a pic and registering right now. But again, I also encourage you to connect with any one of us here at WiSys to learn a little bit more, and we'd love to see you there in July. And last but not least, we're going to call up Secretary Missy Hughes to say a few words, and then I promise right after that we'll get into awards.
I thought I was going to go after the awards so that all I would be standing between was you and the weekend. So I'm still like here at standing between you and the checks. So I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to participate and hear your presentations this afternoon. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is the state's lead economic development agency, and it is our job to promote entrepreneurs all around the state. And division dedicated to it. Nicole on my team is here. She's here to help these businesses, your businesses, as you want to grow. And it's just incredibly important that we think of what you're doing as students, bringing these ideas forward, getting up in front of a group and talking about it, and testing it and validating it and surveying it. It's just incredible work, and it takes a whole village to make that happen. And you see it sitting in this room, whether it's me at the state level or we've got local folks here, we've got the university. All of these different pieces of the puzzle come together to help support you. But if you weren't willing to do it, it wouldn't be worth it, and it wouldn't be happening. So thank you so much for doing that. There is a theme that you're hearing throughout these after presentation speeches, which is there are so many resources available for you. Don't think you have to do this on your own. Don't think you have to solve issues like how do I produce this, how do I make this. You can learn about it and you can dive into it, but there's so many different folks around, and where I've seen the biggest strength in Wisconsin, it's in that networking, it's in that partnering. If you're willing to ask for help, if you're willing to take that step and ask for help, you'll get tenfold back of folks wanting help. Sometimes it's too much, you're like, but ask for that help. The resources are there. Don't feel constrained by all of those things. We are here, as a group to help you succeed, whether it's with this project or your next project or your next 3 projects. So thank you so much. Congratulations to all of you for the work that you've done and coming here today, coming to our beautiful Triplets region and presenting us with your ideas. Thank you.
now is awards, and we're going to start out with the People's Choice Award. And so I guess, drum roll, please. Thank you. Forgot about that slide. But again, big thank you. But drum roll is table locker with easy wear jewelry.
Yeah, the judges will.
Yeah, and we'll have the judges go up. But maybe we said the theme.
Sheila, I love your project.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
We're all talking about how that is just the
All right. You get a hand there. Third place. Okay. And since this didn't update upstairs, which might make it better, a little bit more suspense. Third place, which is brought to you by the Idea Fund. And I will allow Garrett from the Idea Fund to announce this one.
All right, in third place, 2024. Big idea tournament is Michelle Stengler.
Alrighty, and then we'll have Wyatt Jones from U.S. Bank present our second place award, which is brought to you by U.S. Bank.
All right, in second place, Anil Jalala.
Thank you everyone for driving out here, and please get home safe and enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a wonderful weekend.